Hello, Abba Silver. My name is Rabbi Ari Israeli. I am the teacher that was communicating with you via email to answer your question about the Mashiach that you asked. So first, let me start by saying that to clarify some of the preliminary elements that you were asking, that yes, our belief that the Rebbe is Mashiach is 100%. It's not shaky. It's not like I said, presumed Mashiach. We have passed through that stage already. We believe 100% that the Rebbe is Mashiach. As for your question, what about if Hashem will surprise us? So what does it mean? Are we, if Hashem will make somebody else as a Mashiach, will we believe him as a Mashiach? The answer is, of course we will. As long as the Mashiach that Hashem will reveal to us follows all the rules of Halacha and Torah and the prophets and the tzaddikim, why should we go against Hashem and against the Torah? Of course. But it is vital that you understand that the concept of, we will accept him no matter what, obviously, who are we? We are not the one who decide who should what. That does not waver at all our belief that the Rebbe is 100% the Mashiach and he will redeem us. And you need to understand what it means for a Jew to believe. Emunah, according to Torah, is not the Goyish secular concept of Emunah. It's not an Emunah where, I shut down my brain and therefore, whatever comes in takes over and that's it. It's not a cop-out, to use a colloquialism. It's not a cop-out. And Emunah, by Yid, means not instead of his understanding, but beyond his understanding. Right? The reason that, for example, the faculty of the yeshiva agreed, and I will be the one to answer this question, it's because I'm a Baal Tshuva who was an atheist. After becoming an atheist, I became a Baal Tshuva, not to Chabad, to Litvish. And for a while I objected to Chabad. Not because I knew anything, just because I followed my teachers. And later on, I have come close to Chabad. I started to learn their philosophy and their ideas and their books, which will address also something that you said in the end of toward the end of your letter, which really surprised me, which I will address it later. The concept of Emunah is based after you have already learned, when you have great knowledge. In other words, I'm not suggesting that in order to believe you got to have great knowledge. No, of course not. The Emunah of a Yid start from scratch, right? When you have your teachers and you have your rabbis and you have your community, then you believe in Hashem, Naisa v'Nishma, obviously. But the faith, the ultimate faith of a Yid, is something that goes beyond his logic, not replace his logic, and certainly not compromise the principles of his logic. I'm not going to go into this right now because it's a short answer. I'll always say to you like this, that the Rebbe deserves our emunah, not trust through logic. He deserves our emunah according to Torah that he is Mashiach Tzidkenu and he will redeem us. Understand? Both because of learnings of Hasidus, understanding godly esoteric concepts, understanding halacha of the Rambam, and understanding the Rebbe. He proved himself to us 1,000,000 times over. At some point, after he proves you so much, you need to basically give yourself over to him on Emunah. For the most part, I don't rely much on my Emunah in the Rebbe in order to believe that he is Mashiach, because I, a lot, see it in my mind. I understand it, to some extent, of course. And I'm not a Superman or anything like that, not at all. And in fact, the only reason I'm telling you that if and when Hashem will come, as it will be somebody else, the reason I will accept somebody else if he follows the rules of Torah, for one very simple reason. It is because of my humility, because of our humility. The Lubavitcher group who believes that Rebbe is Mashiach. By learning Hasidus, maybe not everybody are like this, obviously, there's always going to be exception to the rule, but it's because of our humbleness and humility to Hashem, to his teachings, and to the Rebbe. And that is why, because of our humility, that in the end we will accept him. The one that, Hashem will give us at the end, if he follows, of course, the laws of Torah and Hasidus and so forth. But But it's not means, and it's very important that you understand, it does not mean that it's because we are, how do you call it, not 100% sure that he is the Mashiach, that we leave room in our mind that maybe somebody else will be. No, not because of this. Right now, as we are now, we are 100% believing he's Mashiach. He has earned that, both through logic, action, emotions, on any level of our psyche that you can imagine. We've earned that. Think about it. The Yidden in Matan Torah had received crowns, 2 crowns, for saying Naisev Nishma. I'm sure you know the greatness of saying Naisev Nishma, right? But this Naisev Nishma did not come, out of the blue. Somebody came out of the desert, say, I spoke to God, now believe in me. I'm going to do a few tricks. Not at all. In fact, our sages tell us that most of the Yidden who came out of Egypt not because they believed in God. They were Avodah Zarah worshippers. They were still worshipping idols. Most of the Yidden who came out of Egypt did it because they thought that Moshe Rabbeinu is a greater wizard, and as a result, he might give them a better life than under Pharaoh. That was the reason. The 80% who didn't come out was because they didn't even want to listen to that. And 20% didn't come out because they believed that Moshe would give them a better future. But not necessarily because they believed in Hashem. They only believed in Hashem after they saw the splitting of the sea. Again, they saw the splitting of the sea. Vayaminu b'Hashem u'v'Moshe avdoi. I don't get it. If I were to see the splitting of the sea, I wouldn't have to believe in Hashem. I saw Hashem. Why would the Torah use the term emunah? And then later, they saw Hashem in the splitting of the sea. They became unbelievably rich. They had manna, food from the sky, water from how do you call it, a rock. And not to mention, they were constantly surrounded by clouds of glory. And then they come to Mount Sinai and they see the glory of Hashem and they say, Naisev Nishma. After seeing all of this, I would go wherever this God tells me to go. What's so great about saying Naisev Nishma at this point? And the answer is, because I'm not going to go into great detail about this, but the answer is that it's because they believed in a lot more than what just they saw. What they saw was not a cop-out, but a specific lesson. What they saw taught them that there is something far greater than what they saw, and they need to connect to it on that level. And that is why they deserve Naisev Nishma. Other nations who would have seen what we have seen in Matan Torah, and it's the Exodus of Egypt, would have become mindless people who go and kill and slaughter and do every pathetic thing in the name of their God. By us, whenever we have done such pathetic things, we were considered sinners, even if we did it in the name of God. We were considered losers. We went into exile many times over just because of that. What we had to believe in after what we have seen in Matan Torah is something that transcends logic, not compromise logic, not instead of logic. Forgive me, that's the church outside my house. I'm really sorry. So, Amunah, the Munah that we have in the Rebbe, right, is something that transcends logic. So most of the time, after what I've seen by the Rebbe, after what I've learned, and events in the world and on the Rebbe, which I'm not going to go into this right now, I have no problem seeing, not just believing, but seeing that the Rebbe is Mashiach Tzidkeinu and he will redeem us. Okay, even though it's already past Gimel Tammuz, the passing of the Rebbe, I have no problem believing that the Rebbe is Mashiach and he will redeem us. The emunah, my emunah in the Rebbe is about things that require of me to transcend my intellect rather than to compromise it. I never compromise my intellect. And like I said in the beginning, that's why I was trying to give you this answer, because I was an atheist. Things that you don't agree or accept, I would not agree or accept. Understand? And then I was Litvish, which brings me to what you said in the end. You said this is very important for you to answer because it has ramifications of whether you will continue to learn Hasidus or not. My question is, why would you close your mind over when Torah information is offered to you for free? Information that was never revealed before is now revealed. I don't understand. Why would you, because of any reason, declare, oh, I'm going to close my mind to a certain amount of knowledge? I don't understand this. It makes no sense to me. You see, I was an atheist who became, they call it a Litvish guy. And as a Litvish guy, they would never learn Hasidus. And I was learning Gemara, I was learning everything they told me, and then I was introduced to Chabad Hasidus, and I was like, wow, this great knowledge, information. I started, and then learning it wholeheartedly. And then, the yeshiva teachers, they found out that I was learning that stuff, and they cornered me, they told me, you can't do that. You have to stop doing it. I said, why not? He says, because you don't understand this stuff, it's Kabbalah, but I told them, I do understand. I told them, the people who wrote those books said that it's designed to be understood, if learned properly. Right, like anything else, right? Yeah, there are levels, there are classes, and slowly, you develop it. So, but they told me no. I told them, were the people who wrote it, they were bad, they were wrong? I said, no, they were big tzaddikim, Yet, if there were such great tzaddikim, then why is it that you think that they weren't smart enough to realize whether their books can be studied or not? Their books are not politically motivated. Hasidus is not politically motivated. It's merely the esoteric information of the Torah revealed to us in plain language. Even the Litvish has books like this that they've learned, that they are learning. Nefesh HaChaim, Tvunas Alev, Das Tvunas from the Ramchal, Rabbeinu Bechaye, many books like that. Right? Somehow they were accepted in their circles. But Hasidus Chabad, for whatever political reason, they decided they don't want to learn. Fine. But to prevent others from learning it, I told them, I'm really sorry. I did not become Baal Tshuva because I closed my mind. I became Baal Tshuva because I kept my mind open. And now that I see new knowledge, and your arguments of me to stop myself from learning new knowledge, it doesn't make no sense. And this is an argument before I even knew of the Rebbe. I was introduced to Chabad Hasidus before I was introduced to the Rebbe. Later on, it makes sense also too that there is a Rebbe who teaches the Hasidus and we follow him. But in the beginning, I wasn't introduced to the Rebbe. So my question is like this. Whether you like my answer about the Rebbe being Mashiach or not, why would you close your mind to knowledge? And the Mamorim that Hasidus gave for 7 generations, it doesn't say the Rebbe Mashiach, the Rebbe Mashiach, the Rebbe Mashiach. It doesn't say Yechi or not Yechi. It's merely the esoteric part of Torah that has been given to us by Hashem in Mount Sinai. It was not revealed until now, and by the way, will be revealed in times of Mashiach, as the Rambam says that the earth will be filled with knowledge of Hashem. Not knowledge of halachas and knowledge of mitzvahs and customs, but knowledge of Hashem, meaning esoteric part of Torah. The earth will be filled with it as the water covered the sea. So, this is a part of that. Why would you want to close your mind to it? Unless you're politically motivated because you belong to some already Litvish sect or whatever, then I cannot convince you. I said, I'm not here to convince you. I'm here if you are an outsider with an open mind and you really want to learn, why would you close your mind to not just because you don't like my answer about Yechi or not? If anything, you should say, you said that you believe in the Rebbe because you're politically motivated. I don't believe you. But close yourself to knowledge? Why would you do that? Right now, there are Lubavitchers who basically do not agree with me that the Rebbe is Mashiach. For whatever reasons, it didn't click by them, right? Yet they still learn Hasidus and they still spread Yiddishkeit using Hasidus. Why? For a simple reason. Not because they're politically motivated, because they're not going to give up such enormous amount of treasure. Let's basically conclude my answer. I hope it was enough to you. And again, the point is that yes, of course, we will accept whatever Mashiach will come, but not, I repeat, not because we doubt it right now. The Jewish concept of emunah does not mean that that's because it could be that when it happened I will accept somebody else. It's not because I'm thinking about it or aware of this. Jewish emunah is such that transcends logic, goes beyond it, not a cop-out. See, if Emunah would be a cop-out, then you're right. The fact that I say, well, if somebody else would come, then I will accept him, is a sign that I'm not as fanatic about my Emunah as I thought I was. Because keeping an open mind, right, to people whose Emunah mean to be a cop-out, to close their mind, is a contradiction. But by us, having Emunah is to go and transcends logic, not instead of logic. So yes, I will accept him if he follows, but that doesn't mean that I don't believe 100% right now. So as I am now, you're asking me, so somebody else will come? I say, Chas v'sholom, of course not. The Rebbe is Mashiach. He will redeem us. I see it. I can explain to you. I can prove it to you. Not a problem. It will take a few months, maybe years, right? I mean, it took me 2 decades, right? You know, I've been in Chabad already for 30 years. Understand? And I was learning Chassidus, learning the Rebbe, following his teaching, following where he pointed for me. And I saw stuff that, you know, each person sees it individually. I saw it myself from my own personal life. Sharing it with you will not really make it clear to you unless you see it yourself in your own eyes. The point is that no. For me, the Rebbe is 100% the Rebbe. He will Mashiach, he will redeem us. And his teachings stand, and they're beautiful, and it's remarkable. And if I thought for one iota the Rebbe was not worthy, or his teaching are wrong, or somehow it involves a political thing, trust me, I will not believe in it. I won't. That's just who I am. Understand? So, that does not mean, like you said, that if Mashiach will come and it's not the Rebbe, then he follows the Torah. Look, why should I go against Hashem, against the Torah? Why should I do that? It's not who I am. But again, it does not mean that my belief in the Rebbe is not, I repeat, not 100%. It is 100%. If you want to understand it even further, then you're just going to have to come to the yeshiva. You're just going to have to sit and learn Chassidus, sit and learn some teachings. You know, keep an open mind. Yeah, come to us, learn what we have to say, and then judge for yourself if it holds water or not. Right? But you should be able to compartmentalize and the differentiates between what you consider as a political movement, a political aspect. Right? We believe the Rebbe because he's a Rebbe, or the knowledge. The knowledge that we're teaching is universal. It's not from us. It's universal. It's from Hashem. It's from Torah. It's from Moshe Rabbeinu. From Mount Sinai. And finally, it was revealed to us. Why? Why on earth would you close your mind to it? Regardless of your decision about Mashiach. So, I hope this answers your question somewhat. And if I came out too strong, please do not be offended. It's just my personality. That's the way I am. I always talk like this. You know, that's some guys like this, sometimes don't like it. I mean, you know, that's who I am. I mean nothing by it. If I came out too strong, again, please think nothing of it. Okay, if anything, you should take it as an encouragement that this guy actually cares, because I do. I get emotional, I get excited, I love these ideas, I love to talk, to explain. That's who I am. Don't be offended by my toughness, okay? God bless you, and I hope to hear from you. And again, for further knowledge, you're just going to have to check yourself into a yeshiva, somewhere, anywhere. God bless you.